Welcome to Awaken and Align. This is your weekly time in to breathe, reconnect, and rise. So I created a space just to offer a sacred pause to come home to yourself. You guys might know that I'm all about the you inside you and really being able to honor and step in, recognize and live by your true self. So this is a way to awaken your truth, align with your soul, and live from the inside out. So we're going to drop in together. Welcome, Juanita, again this week. This
Thank
is
you.
our second week doing Awaken and Align. I'm so happy to have you here. First of all, I want to ask you, what was a takeaway from last week? I know a week ago is a long time ago. Sometimes we don't even remember what we did yesterday. But was anything
Uh,
specifically that kind of stood out last week that you took away from it?
Definitely more of the calm focus.
Mm,
That was something that I really took away was that because I was here intentionally, it was how much better kind of my day went
mm.
because it started with this calm focus. So that was definitely a huge takeaway for me. And I definitely tried to repeat it through the week, just taking that time to pause because it did work so well.
Oh,
And just it made everything. Yeah,
I love that. So you took it to the next level.
I
You got
tried.
you got inspired and you're like, let me do more of this, like add this more
Yep,
to my day, and you saw a big difference.
huge difference.
I love
Yes, it was
that.
awesome. Yeah.
Can you tell me one thing that was different? Like, can you identify and speak to one thing that you noticed was different? When you say it was very different for me, what did that look like?
The one thing was taking the time to ground myself, where it was like instead of, it was very different in that I wasn't just rushing from thing to thing to thing to thing as soon as like I woke up. It was starting this way and like really settling things down and basically going into a meditation and just grounding myself. That was the huge difference maker
Okay. And how did
for
that
me.
affect your day differently?
I was more, instead of rushing
Okay.
through everything, I was more intentional
Okay.
and more conscious
Right. More present with
of,
what you were doing.
yeah,
Ah, I love
exactly.
that.
Instead of
Yeah.
just rushing through my
Mm,
day, it was like I was definitely more conscious of it. So,
mm. I can
yeah.
imagine that
Yeah.
would create less stress too.
Hmm. Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
It just started the day better.
Yeah.
Like everything was, I didn't feel, and so I'm not typically an anxious person because just through life experience, but it was like even more that my body wouldn't react. I guess that was it
Oh.
was more I could, if there was something that was a challenge, I didn't automatically go into react mode.
Mm,
I was able to step back because I already had this calmness within.
mm.
Mm.
I love that.
I love that.
Less reactivity. Don't we all want this in
Yes.
life? And I think
Yes.
this is the biggest, I find, hurdle to creating a steady meditation practice and allowing ourselves to just sit down and check in, or taking these calm moments throughout the day. I find the biggest hurdle that I hear from a lot of people, and I certainly have experienced personally is that it almost it's a bit counterintuitive because we're trying to chase a tail, right? We're like, well, if I only rush these things and if I only get more stuff done today, I'll feel better.
Mm.
But it's actually opposite, right? Research have shown how we become a lot more productive when we
Mhm.
actually work less and more
Mhm.
intentional and more grounded because we're not so scatterbrained. Research
Very
have
true.
proven this, but our minds are not wired like that. This is not how we raised. This is not what our culture shows us. It's hard to go against that stream and the flow of saying, I'm going to put on my meditation or my need me time sign on my office or for my kids or wherever we're working from, and just allow ourselves to take that moment because the investment in that seems counterintuitive.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm going to lose 20 minutes of my day. I'm going to lose 10 minutes of my day. I don't have time for this. What is this going to help me with? Well, listen from you. It's going to help you with being less reactive, being more intentional, being more
Mhm.
present. Research says we're more productive. We have lower heart rates. We have better overall health. We have less anxiety. I know you're not prone to anxiety, but a lot of people are listening to this are prone to anxiety. So I can't stress it enough. And what I want to dive into today, and talk a little bit about today is really that clarity that comes from self-awareness. So
Mm.
I, in some of my programs, go through some steps in depth to really understand the landscapes of how we work with our nervous system, how we work with the limiting beliefs, and how to kind of upgrade that to the new version of ourselves. And the the first step in that is really clarity. And clarity can
Mhm.
go in so many directions because, it all starts with self-awareness, and we need to know ourselves before we can be there for others, and we need to fill our own cup before we fill other people's cup. And it can sound pretty cliche at times because what does that really look like? And are we really implementing that?
Mm.
And to really explore the landscape of the inside, we also kind of need a roadmap, right? It's like going a new place for the first
Mhm.
time. And if you're more prone to anxiety, I love using that today. You're a little more like, oh my gosh, am I gonna find my way? Am I gonna get lost? Am I gonna get there on time? And until you've kind of taken that route at least one time, you might have to leave a little bit extra time, right? You might be nervous throughout. There might be
Mhm.
some hiccups along the way. You might drive through neighborhoods that are not very pleasant, right? You might have to stop for a potty break that you were not expected to, right? On our way to a
Mm.
volleyball tournament a couple weeks ago, we sat in this one lane thing going to Lithia. I think we were in like way, way East Tampa. And there was so much traffic. It took us 20 minutes, half an hour to get to from, like 10-minute drive, 5-minute drive, right? Because some guy had
Mhm.
run into a light pole, those poles with the wires, the electricity wires, right? Had fallen
Mhm.
over, the tree had fallen over on that and had shut down the entire electricity in the town.
Oh,
So
no.
we had to get around all of that, and all the players got there late, and it was, yeah, but we can't anticipate, right?
No,
And
no, no.
my goal with these conversations that we're having here about our internal landscape and in the
Mhm.
programs that I offer my clients is to have a roadmap to understand that, you know, any traffic light you come to, you know what to do, and stop sign. It's really like driver's education. Like, what are the rules of the road? So I can, even I'm going into a new situation, at least I know
Mhm.
how to get from A to B. I know how to stay in my own lane, right? I know how to not bump into other people. My 15-year-old is starting to drive right now, which is pretty scary. And she's learning all she's learning all those rules.
Yeah, been
It,
there.
in-
Remember that.
it increases confidence. The
Yes.
more practice we have on the road in different
Mhm.
circumstances, right?
Mhm.
But for most of us, we are not educated and have a driver's license or a license in my own truth. Who am I?
Yes.
And what are
Right.
emotions and what are thoughts and how do they get in my way? How are they cones on the road? How are they red lights that stop us for 2 days? how how do we navigate that? How do we navigate all the other crazy drivers out there in our lives
Yeah.
and
Yep.
not take it personally and not give too
Yes.
much of ourselves and find those balances, right? So
Mhm.
this is the clarity that I'm talking about. The clearer we are about the rules, the clearer we are about
Mhm.
the guidelines, and I'm mostly talking about our internal guidelines. How is
Mhm.
our body connected to our mind, connected to our feelings? And what do we even do with it without pushing it away or ignoring it, criticizing
Mhm.
ourselves a little bit more, start blaming other people and getting reactive, right? This landscape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why do you think it's that part is important? Because I know that you are a very self-aware person and you have stepped into this space. It's very easy to read on your energy that you have been on this journey for some time. So tell me a little
Yes.
bit about
Yes.
some of the bumpy stuff that you've discovered and how that clarity is important in your life.
When I began this journey, it was kind of meditation and taking the time um because I used to bottle everything up. I was, it was like, you know what? I will deal with those emotions later. I will deal with everything. First of all, that does not work.
Mm,
Um, Bottling things up and not dealing with things seeps out into you may think you're really good, really, really good about hiding things and just you're going to deal with it later. I'm here to tell you from personal experience that does not work. It seeps out in other ways. You become a little bit shorter with your kids. You become a little bit more aggressive with family members. You become and it's all about because you're trying to hold things together, like you're trying to cram things together. And when I started this journey, that was one of the biggest things was realizing that I needed to release and I needed to let things go. And I noticed right away that the more that I took the time out, the more that I took that even, you know what, even 5 minutes, 10 minutes out of your day. And when things are starting to get a little bit stressful, say at work or when you're in a situation, if you have 5 minutes, that was something that a counselor had told me. Even if all you have is 5 minutes, go to the bathroom,
mm,
go sit in your car, and before you start driving, just breathe for that
mm.
five. Make sure you're in a safe like location, lock your doors, that kind of thing. But I mean, it was kind of, but because really what you need to do is turn that awareness inside. So you're
Mm,
not really being aware of what's going on outside. That's why I said lock the doors. That was what the first thing my counselor said. If you're going to do this in your car, make
Yeah.
sure you're safe. Just make sure you're safe. Um, and even just taking those 5 minutes. And then
Mm,
if you can start your day, it really does set your day up for a better day because you are less reactive because it's kind of and the more that you breathe, everybody breathes, right? Like we don't have to tell ourselves to breathe. Everybody breathes. But essentially, you do have to slow that breathing down because if all you do is shallow breathe,
mm,
then you're just a ball of energy that just doesn't know what to do and you're reactive. You're like a ping pong ball and you're
mm,
reacting to everything. And so through my journey, those were the first two things that I had to master
mm,
basically was to slow my breathing down
mm.
and just close my eyes, take 5 minutes,
Yeah.
start my day with like 10 to 20 minutes,
Mm,
and then just kind of, those little pockets of time.
mm,
And because I know that if I went from one situation where maybe my back was up or I was a little bit more tense going into the next situation, unfortunately, that comes along with you. And then if one person says something, you're going to be a little bit more aggressive than you normally would be.
yes. Yes. So let's take a breath.
And
I just invite everybody to just take 3 deep breaths. Awesome. So that just resets in that moment, even if it
yes.
was just 30 seconds or 60 seconds or however long, that's enough sometimes to just add a little bit of that calmness to the nervous system, a little bit of that mm, to the day.
Absolutely.
I love this. I love this. I I really love how you're bringing how you're bringing in that awareness of what happens if I don't do this. And I think a lot of people
Hmm.
can really relate to feeling a little snappy, a little reactive, maybe a little aggressive with people, yelling at my kids, right?
Hmm.
Being short with myself. Am I beating up on
Hmm.
myself? Am I hard on myself because I didn't get this done or get that done or I didn't respond very kindly to this person and then we go beat ourselves up afterwards, right?
Hmm.
Do we have tension in the body? All of this awareness and the cues that we accumulate throughout a day, it doesn't matter how aware and conscious we are as human beings. We are
Hmm.
prone to miss those or dismiss those, especially living in the Western society that is very hectic and has a lot of demands and a lot of expectations that we put on ourselves and is demanded from the outside, that we tend to overlook them. And for people listening to this, I really want to invite you to notice throughout today anything that creeps up that needs attention. All right. It could
Hmm.
just be, oh, my back is acting up, or my foot hurts, or I'm getting a headache. What do, what do I need right now? So take that check in, right? That time
Hmm.
into yourself, because it's not just what does my body need. There's there's a lot of other things that often as underlying, right? There's some emotions that
Mhm.
are not being attended to. There's some needs that might not be attended to. There's some limiting beliefs that might have started tripping you up. So, really take a
Mhm.
moment to check in with your body, check in with your thoughts. What are you stressing about? What are you worrying about? Just those little check ins, as you're talking about throughout the day, is hugely important to understand your landscape,
Mhm.
understand because we're all different in different environments, in different situations. We have different needs, we have different tolerances, different triggers based on where we come from. But at the end, the tools and the navigation is often the same. And that's why I have these conversations with people in the world over and over again because I can't stress it enough how simple the solution is, but how hard it is to implement at times because we kind of get in our own way. So if we're able to identify what's happening, here's the traffic
Mhm.
light, here's the road, here are the lines, here are the other cars. We can kind of identify a lot of that stuff, maybe identify conflicts, identify pain, tension, worry, anxiety. Sometimes they're not so hard to identify. Emotions, label them accurately, can be a little more challenging,
Mhm.
really understanding what's happening, right? Now, limiting beliefs are
Mhm.
feeding a lot of that, very automatic. This is where we get triggered by something or fed kind of false information. Now we're getting into very subconscious programming that is really hard to control subconsciously.
Yes.
Need to start paying attention to that. Can be difficult. And then navigating, well, how do I make sense of all of that and how do I navigate that? It can be a bit overwhelming at times. And one good way of starting that is really to take a moment, calm yourself down so you can actually start listening to some of
Mhm.
this stuff. And I know you already know it. And I know people listening to you already know it. But are you doing it enough? Are you doing it enough?
Mhm.
Are you doing
Mhm.
it enough? Sometimes I heard recently from Abraham Hicks, if anybody follows Esther Hicks and
Mhm.
Abraham, only do 30% of what you're supposed to do in a day and spend the rest of the time in alignment with yourself, listening, following the
Mm.
nudges of where your attention needs to be focused on.
Mhm.
I mean, that seems pretty logical and irrational. And I can feel all my judgment coming in and be like, I can't just like cut my
Mm.
day in
30
third, like what are you talking about?
30%? What are you talking about?
Mm. However, the inspired actions come from this alignment and comes through this clarity. So
Mhm.
right now, I think it's a good time, if it's okay with you, to I think drop in
Mhm.
a little bit and
Sure.
just guide you through a little meditation. So
Mhm.
I'll invite everybody to find a comfortable seat. Maybe take a deep cleansing breath in and out. I just want you to bring your awareness to your body. Maybe scan it slowly from top to toe, noticing what's happening in your head, your face, neck, shoulders. And remember, this is just for curiosity and just observing. You don't have to change anything. Just be aware of what's happening in your body, down your back, checking in with all your organs, your stomach, your pelvis, thighs, knees, all the way down to your calves and your feet. Just be aware of what's happening in your body. Maybe bringing some compassion and some love and appreciation for the health of your body, what's working really well, how strong it is. Even if there's parts of your body that at the current moment is not functioning as optimal as you want it to be, I want you to focus on the wholeness of your body and all the things that work really well for you. Even the parts that are having a hard time right now are working the best they can. And we really honor that and appreciate that in this moment. Every single part of our body needs acknowledgement and care and appreciation. There's no part of your body that works less than or more than. It just is. It all works as one whole. And in this moment, I want you to bring awareness to you as a conscious being, you as a self aware, aligned being. You can call it your true self or your essence, you connecting with your soul. Really, that core essence of who you are and you being aware of that right now. I am me. Thank you for bringing this life to me. Thank you for being me. Thank you for who I'm becoming. And just take a moment to really appreciate the knowing that you have in life right now, the understanding, the clarity that you have gathered that has served you really, really well, that have served you to be more compassionate towards yourself and more loving towards yourself and others because you understand yourself better, because you're aware of what's happening inside of you, taking more responsibility for your own self-care and therefore showing up as a balanced, more balanced person with other people. So really spend this moment in gratitude. This is something we don't always do enough because we always want to go somewhere else and we always want to strive for more, which is excellent. But right now, you're taking status with joy and humiliation, with, um, humility, excuse me, lots of humility, appreciation, joy, excitement for the knowledge and the wisdom that you have gathered in your body, in your mind, in your soul, from the experience that you've lived so far. Maybe there's a specific message that you want to share with your core being from your knowledge, from your consciousness. That you really want to acknowledge and appreciate. And just be aware of how your body feels in this shower of appreciation. Maybe you feel, sense different things in your body. Maybe not. Either way, there's no right or wrong. It's just an observation. Now, if you take a deep breath, slowly move your hands and feet. Bring your awareness back into your space, back into your seat. And when you're ready, you can open up your eyes. Welcome back.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
How was
Mm,
that for you?
That was really, really nice. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So these time ins and the Awaken and Align is spent in connecting with ourselves, connecting with others, connecting with themselves, which creates inspiration, which creates uplifting energy, and then going deep within to celebrate, explore, but most of all, always recognizing and acknowledging and celebrating each moment, each day, not only for what we do, but what we are, the way we, the being, right? We're human being, not human doing. So of course, we need to celebrate accomplishments and achievements, or the process of. For me, it's
Mhm.
not the destination and the goal. It's more the I stepped outside my comfort zone, or I persevered, or I gave myself permission to continue showing up for
Mhm.
myself over and over again. That's the kind of celebration that I teach my children. It's not about the grades, and I teach myself. It's not about getting this outcome. I want to focus on results as entrepreneurs, right? And metrics and all that stuff. But for me, the win is how I show up for myself, the
Yes.
value that I give, and the value I
Yes.
receive from other people just being in a space like this gives
Mhm.
me back tremendously for me to be a better teacher, a better coach, a better human being. And that's
Mhm.
what I'm here for.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful.
Mm.
And myself, and I'm sure everyone who watches this, we appreciate that because you are showing up, you are sharing with us and helping us to become better. And it's not about, as you said, the destination. It's about the journey. It's about showing up, and it's about being better, a little bit better every day. And I appreciate that very much that you are holding space
Mm,
like that for us.
mm. It's my pleasure. Again, it's full circle for me. And I recognize that there are a lot of spaces like this, but we need to find places that really speaks to our hearts and speaks to our souls. Not,
Hmm.
I'm not for everybody, and some other people may not be for everybody. But we want to find what really align with our
Yes.
soul in this moment, so we can raise our vibration to the place we really want to be in. This is a
Hmm.
space where a lot of people, they do want more. They want to improve. They want to kind of get to that next step of human living. And
Yes.
how can I
Yes.
show up better? And it does require an environment, often, at
Hmm.
least to do it quicker at times. The internal process at the same time as you're saying we
Hmm.
have to do,
Hmm.
because it's
Hmm.
only us that can do it. So if we
That's
don't
right.
check in with
Yep.
ourselves, nobody else can do it for you. This is not about I can do it for it, but I can hold the space. I can hold the
Yes.
space of the awareness and the acknowledgement and things that we don't always see or focus on or prioritize,
Hmm.
that leaves that patches some holes that make it a little more fluffy in going down life, just like
Yes.
meditation does. It creates that buffer. It creates this, like, yeah, I can like flow and bounce a little easier instead of being so reactive, almost like a knee
Yes.
replacement, right? I don't know. You remember that,
Yes.
right? It's like we used to, like, we're just grinding and grinding and grinding, right? And then we get a knee replacement. We're like, wow, everything is so smooth and so flexible, and I can kind of move around everywhere. But that's
I can
kind of
go up
what
and down
meditation,
those stairs.
right? Yes. Yes, because I want life to be fun. The more in alignment we are, and the less we depend on other people for our own happiness, which we tend to do a lot.
Hmm.
And we may not be aware of how much we are just kind of
Hmm.
ingrained, enmeshed, over dependent on other people, on how they view us and what they think about us and what they say
Hmm.
about us, if they really want to be with us. And unless we stay in alignment and just do our
Hmm.
work, regardless of what other people choose to do,
Yes.
choose to show up,
Hmm.
we will feel very different very quickly. But
Hmm.
for a completely other topic. Relationship freedom. So anyway,
But it's the relationship with ourselves.
it is.
It's the relationship with ourselves, and every time we
Yes.
show up with ourselves, then we are building that strength.
Mhm.
Exactly as you said, it becomes we depend less on others
Yes.
and we depend on ourselves.
Yes.
So,
And guess what? We all have
mhm.
the answers inside, which
Yes.
I have heard my whole life. And I'm like, yeah, but we really don't. I mean, like, really, because there's a lot of things that I don't know, and a lot of other people know, and they show up and they're really
Yeah.
cool people. So what are they talking about? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just, like, really didn't get it. And to be honest, I'm still learning to separate myself from other people's stories and depending on them and not taking responsibility for their emotions, you know,
Mm,
being a
mhm,
mother of,
mhm.
3 girls and a wife and a daughter and all the
Yeah.
roles that we take in life. It
Yep.
is
Yep.
it is difficult to just lead my life without not believing that that somehow has detrimental consequences to other people.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
this is definitely
Yep.
a good
E
a good a good topic for another time. I love this. This is I'm super passionate about um
Yes.
relationship freedom and how to create that, which really leads to more meaningful relationships. So it all starts with you. It all
Absolutely.
starts with clarity, the awareness, the roadmap of identifying what's happening inside of me, understanding why it's happening, and then identifying what do I really want? And we didn't talk so much about that today, which is also a really, really big stumbling ground for
Mhm.
people to allow ourselves to really talk about what we really want, not what we want to please others or what we want to keep the
Mhm.
peace or what we want
Yeah.
because that's what people have told me to do. Like what do I really want? So I honor
Mhm.
you for showing up today and showing up for
Thank you.
yourself most of all, right? Because this is really yay. I
Absolutely.
filled my bucket today. So
Me too. Yes.
everybody, we're gonna be here next week again at 11:30 Eastern
Yay.
Standard. Please come and join us. It's the same Zoom link for now. We're definitely going to be running this for a couple months to
Nice.
see if this adds to your life, to see if this brings more calmness, more peace, more motivation, to bring more alignment, more calmness in, and meeting another amazing human beings and souls that have gone through all of this and show up with amazing energy, which is just,
Mhm.
oh, you guys should feel the energy in the room. I'm sure you can feel it, just through listening to us today. I can definitely feel it. And I love it. I love it each time. And thank
Mhm.
you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I will see you next week.
You betcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.